still have it somewhere.
You do?
I can find it. Let's,
Do you have it, like, on you, or?
I'm looking.
All right. George,
I have your really, really old one.
Oh. Well, is this going to be stupid?
Yeah.
Crossing T's and dotting I's is recorded in front of a live studio audience. It's time for Crossing T's and Dotting I's with Danny Okers and Goes. Sit back and relax as producer Danny crosses all his T's and dots all of his I's in the most annoying way ever. Now, here is your host, Danny Oker.
I remember that.
I got that one.
That was Danny's notorious for crossing T's and dotting I's.
Oh, I have the good one. The one that we made Rock read. You want that one?
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay.
Crossing T's and dotting I's with Goes and producer Danny, the MMA Junkie Radio pre-show.
Hey, why do we still say the sky's the limit? We've been to space.
I guess because space is the limit doesn't roll off the tongue as easily.
Snakes be slithering.
You should say kittens be meowing.
You just done this now?
Cats be meowing.
Alright, gotta get a new one.
Wait a minute. You mean I gotta listen
no.
to this crap before the real show? Get out of here!
Okay. Alright. I don't care. I'm just saying, because I can get a new one. Because that one was mine personal. So, I'm just terrible at billing for shit. And I guess they should pay for that, right? For that one?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Okay.
Hi, by the way.
Hi.
Danny's not only famous for crossing T's, dotting I's. He fucking asks you if you're talking in English. He makes sure of the language, the verb tenses.
I talked to Sam Alljam today.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of our callers.
In a minute.
And we were talking about, I don't know if you noticed, but in the combat chat, they're doing this thing on people that have come to gatherings and just giving you information on them, right? This is what Sam's known for. This is what Moon is known for.
Okay.
So I told Sam, why don't you do like, kind of like your jam session, but bring back, or talk about kind of like the rookie report. Interview the rookies so that we kind of know what they're all about before they even get here. And he goes, well, I'm going to need a couple things from you. And Sam is kind of like Danny.
Mm-hmm.
But
30.
this is something he wanted me to know that he will need. The individual's name and his contact info.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I magically thought that they were somehow going to connect brains. Like, of course I'm going to give you that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like if you go, hey, Ford, I need to bring in my car. And they go, okay, well, here's what we're going to need.
Your
We're going
car.
to need you as a human being and your car.
Stand by.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Go. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission.
I'll stretch it out. Don't worry. You'll be all right.
Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Go.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Race and Sportsbook, the crown jewel of the southern end of the strip here in Las Vegas. That is what Mandalay Bay is known as, Goes.
Mm-hmm.
You are listening to MMA Junkie Radio.
Hey, Kevin, you can do the big cup. It'll fill it up. It won't overflow.
You mind, guys? I'm kind of trying to do an intro here.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'm your host, Gorgeous George. Goes is a barista and a co-host sitting here to my left. He's fabulous. He's devious. He's dastardly. Back east, handling all the producing duties, it's Danny. Our co-host for the day will be Kevin Lee, who's working on a coffee right now. What flavor, Kevin, did you get?
We got Colombian.
Colombian. All right. Tell them about the Colombians. You know what that's from?
Probably Scarface.
Scarface, that's right. Tell them about the Colombians.
I even got mini croissants over there.
I see.
And then I got nervous because I'm like, well, I wonder if like Kevin's in the middle of a weight cut or something. So I got a granola bar just in case. Like, nope. Nah, you don't do granola bars.
No granola bars.
I think it's a granola bar. I don't know what it is.
Kevin Lee will join us here in a few seconds. It's the MMA Junkie Radio Show on a Thursday, February 23rd. You know, you guys, Kevin coming in with a hug and goes, cracking jokes. You guys lightened up my mood because I strolled in through the Mandalay Bay and I thought, just wait till one of those motherfuckers on the phones calls in and says something stupid. I'm going off because this car shopping experience has been brutal and I'm carrying it over to my personal life.
Oh, yeah.
So, I was even talking to my buddy Woody on the way here. And he was telling me about some stuff that goes on, and he was just getting my blood boiling again, making me recollect, you know, walking into Chevy and walking into CarMax and all these other spots. They fucking, what do I look like, a fucking pinata
Yeah,
or
it's a
something,
bitch.
dude?
It's a bitch
I mean,
to
these
deal
guys
with.
have been teeing off on me, you know?
Yeah,
so
they're going to do their best.
What they don't realize is I'm Max Cady. There could be three of them there, and I'll just take it. And then guess what? I'm going to explode on them pretty soon. So they better watch it. Today might be the day, too. I'm going to Subaru and Honda, see what they got. But I got to get a car today. I really do.
Yeah.
You like car shopping?
No, I hate it. You know,
Yeah.
the thing is, they got more experience like doing that to people. You know what I mean? Because the car salesman sells hundreds of cars, probably and you probably only buy 2-3 cars.
They're following a game plan.
You know, they all do the same shit. They always treat you like shit.
If they say this, tell them this. If they say that, go this way. And there's all these directions they can go in. But I think, if I were a salesman and I saw me walk in, I'd go, okay, now that guy's street. He's got some swag. He's got some gray hair. That means this isn't his first rodeo. He's bought a car before. And then he's got this confident look to him, you know. So I'll tell you what, let's dispense with the bullshit and kind of, you know, let's start getting to a plan C and a plan D. Let's not give them the whole plan A. How's your day going and what you're looking at? And, boy, we got all these incentives. You came to the right spot. No, man, show me some motherfucking cars. In fact, I'm going to tell you what car I want to look at. I'm not even worried about what's the Murano doing and what you got in the sub SUV class. No, this is the car I want. Pull it up. This is the color I want, too.
Yeah,
so I'm jumping to the end of the story here.
That's why I always bring another guy with me, you know, especially an older guy, you know. Yeah, I either have my uncle or last time I actually had my coach with me, Sean Dezay, my very first coach, and he was the one that kind of made the deal happen because he's older, you know. He was like, you know, he's in his 40s, and you know, he just was like, cut the bullshit.
Pretty old.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking ancient, ain't it? But his experience, you know, he bought a couple cars. He knew what he was doing. He was like,
I used to trip when I was
like,
41
enough with
or
the bullshit.
42, but at 47, I'm knocking on the door 50. I just take that one.
I was telling Matt.
That's an L. You just put it in the L column.
You know when you recollect on like junior high or high school and you think of your teachers and old man Johnson or whatever, that's us now.
Yeah.
We're their age of when they were teachers.
It happened. It happened.
Crazy. Not you. You're
it happened.
Still there.
No, I mean
25?
it happened to you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You're co-signing on our
I'm 24.
misery.
You can't even rent a car. You have to be 25 to rent a car.
That is true.
Wow.
That is true. But I got a credit card, so yeah. You know,
well,
they will let you if you have a couple credit cards. So
Kevin, I'll tell you what. When you come in to the studio, well, first I want to give Kevin props because you told me.
Really? Because I don't.
You don't?
No.
Nope.
I found something out. I got spies out there. But what do you want to tell him?
Well, I was going to tell him. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. What I was going to tell him was, George told me, hey, can you book Kevin Lee and just tell him, you know, he's getting close to his fight. Let's not bug him to come wake up early, get to the studio. So I go, Kevin, can you do a phoner? He said, no, I like coming in and being an in-studio co-host. So he actually came in. Mm-hmm. And then
I always like it. Even though I do have to leave at 11:15, I do want to.
Oh,
yeah, I got a doctor's appointment with Dr. Shu. He didn't book it until afterwards, you know, until after I said yes. But, you know,
and then
I'm still here. Fuck it.
The other part of it is it's kind of a spectacle when you come in because our producer, Danny, starts to trip because he's like, I don't want to put music out there that he's not going to like. So we spent about 30, 40 minutes just on selecting music for today.
I appreciate that then.
And we took another route, a different route from last time. So
I appreciate that, then. Well, hit me with the bad news now. That's enough of the good news fluffing me up.
Think about the bad
news.
It's not bad news. It's just George take it on the chin news. I found out we're not your favorite podcast.
Oh.
What you mean? You know, there's MMA. MMA roasted.
Yeah,
it is.
Our caller said, "Did you know Kevin's favorite podcast was?" And I interrupted and I go, "Junkie, of course."
That
and
was
they
a
go,
text
"No,
message, right?
It's MMA roasted." And I go, "Oh."
Yeah, but roasted is
okay.
different than you know, like you guys are like actual like news. You know what I mean? Like roasted is just like bullshit. You know,
right?
That's actually where I get into
most.
most.
Any news yet? Here, or we've been bullshitting.
No, we've been bullshitting for the most part.
Okay. No, you know what? I like Adam, man. Adam's
yeah,
funny.
Adam's cool people.
It's a good time to listen to the show. I've never been. Have you been on that show? I never been on.
So,
I never been on that show, but I listened to the show.
When we went last time to California.
Oh yeah.
But we just couldn't fit it in because we had a meeting.
Oh, okay.
He's funny dude, and he has a Uncle Hinash on there. You know,
who?
Hinato Larange. You know, yeah. You know, they always have a good time. But all they do is bullshit the whole time.
That came from one of our listeners.
Where I get my words.
Yeah, they take it serious, dude.
He ended it with, "I feel betrayed," with an exclamation point too.
Hey, but you know what though? Secretly, I got respect for Kevin because he could have said, "Nah, y'all are my favorite." He stuck to his guns.
Yeah.
He said,
Yeah,
"Oh yeah,
probably.
roasted. Yeah, those guys. That's my favorite."
Yeah.
He just sat there kind of like, "What you gonna do about it? Are we number 2? Are we top 5 at least?"
Yeah, no, definitely top 5. You know,
since you're so honest, are we? Where are we?
You know,
second,
I even
fourth,
said it like
8?
going into this camp. I haven't done pretty much any media. The only media I did was I did Flow Combat because I'm friends with those guys, and then I did Heidi. She came in, and you know, because I'm good friends with her, and then you know, and I love this show, so I did it. But I didn't do like I had a bunch of requests from like other shit that I didn't even hear about, and I just didn't even do them because I'm sick of. I'm like a little over the. I said it last time I was on here. I'm a little over the MMA media type deal, you know. I think it was Ariel though that give me like the fuck these guys type deal. So.
The what?
You're not a big fan of his, huh? I think you mentioned.
No, I don't like him. I don't know why. I got a bone to pick with that guy. I don't like him. I'm gonna talk to him eventually if he ever gets the time and the respect and want to talk to me.
What can you just share? He's a buddy of ours. What is it you don't like about him?
I don't like him. I mean, he's cool people. I'm sure. I never met him, so I can't say I don't like him. But you know, just the way he runs his whole. You know, he does it for the money, which is whatever. I don't knock a man's hustle, but that don't mean I gotta like it. You know, you know, he has on certain guys just so that it can bring in. He just. To me, it doesn't seem like he really goes after the real fighters. You know, he's just kind of like one of those tabloid, like, you know, if you get big, then I'll have you on or something like that. You know what I mean?
Is there an explanation
bullshit.
You think he can give you that you would go, all right?
Yeah, he does it for the money. He does it for the views. He does it for the money. Makes sense. It already makes sense. That don't mean I like it, but, you know, I understand it. But, yeah, it's still, you know, if he asks me to be on the show, I'm going to cuss his ass out. That's for sure first. And then I'll give him the interview. I've asked to be what it is. I've asked to be on his show a couple years ago, and then he just blew me off, and I was pissed. And then he came and
no answer or a no answer.
No answer at all.
Wait,
you know?
that
and
didn't make sense. What I meant was, did he at least reply, or when
no,
he replied,
no.
did he say no?
No reply. Yeah,
no
yeah.
reply. Oh,
And then he came and you know, they have you do like the post-fight media scrum or whatever. Came and like stared at me, asked like one question. I didn't give a good answer, I guess, and then he walked away. So I was like, all right, well, fuck that guy too. Right, especially somebody
that way about stuff.
Especially like with somebody like Ariel, because everybody knows Ariel. You know, he's the guy with the fucking suit and the mic, and says nice things and shit.
If you send a text to a fighter or something and he doesn't get back, like it kind of stings, right?
Probably
a little bit. It depends on if it's my first time with that fighter. I can't prove that they looked at it and like ignored it. So it has to be someone that we've talked to many times, and then they don't reply. But like the other day, I was not pissed, but I was like, damn, Cormier at least tells you no. And then I found out he changed his number. I go, oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah, so like a jackass.
That happens a lot.
With
I
hurt
lost
feelers.
all my contacts. You ever gotten that one? Who is this? I lost all my contacts. This one dude told me this girl stole my phone one time, and I don't know who this is. I'm like, who comes up with this stuff?
That's right.
The worst is the DMs for me. Like, people DM me all the time. And
which one? Twitter, Instagram?
Either one. I never check my DMs, just because mostly I get like a lot of, especially after the last fight, I got a lot of Russians like wanting my address so they can come and kill me. So I just stopped checking them. And every now and again, like, I'll check and I'll go back through, and it'll be like months. Like people like, hey, I need to get to you right now, and this was like a month ago. And then like,
but if they really wanted to get to you, they would go another route other than the DM. I think
You
at the
would
top is a phone call, an email, or a text.
Yeah,
And
anybody
the phone
has
call
my number.
means I got business to tend to
Right
here,
now.
Yeah, exactly. We have a deal that we can talk. So honestly, you start with the call, and then second after that would be an email or text. And then if that don't work, I suppose I would probably bank on Facebook next, then Twitter, then Instagram. But you're right.
Yeah,
there are people that hit me up from the weirdest spots, and I'm like, God damn, like it's not that hard to find what my email address is.
Yeah. Or even my, hit up my manager or something. His number is everywhere. So at least text him and say, hey, can I get a hold of? And they're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The best way to contact me is through phone. I'll always answer that, but I never answer my DMs. So people get pissed, though, And like an asshole, I text them back like a month later, like, hey, yeah, I just saw it. What's up?
He answered someone, I think 5 years later, right? On an email on the air one time.
Well, that was because I've been busy.
Right.
And eventually I just got to it. I was cleaning up emails. And I thought, well, they're worthy of a response. Obviously, I really try and get back to everyone.
Yeah.
But just some had gotten buried.
Yeah, you try your
It was nothing. It was no slight to anybody. It was just they got buried. Kevin flies to Brazil when?
March 1st.
March 1st.
Wednesday.
For a fight on March 11th.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right, so
I'll be there in 10 days. I'm already expecting to get sick. I've heard of the horror stories of guys going down to Brazil. So, the food's horrible. The water's horrible. I'm expecting to get sick. So.
Okay, I've been there many times. You should be okay with bottled water. The food, take it easy. Don't jump into a salad or seafood if you're down with that. Slowly get to there. Kind of like cooked meats, chicken and potatoes and.
I'm gonna bring a lot of my own food, because I don't really eat much anyway. It's only 10 days out from the fight, so I'll snack on some nuts and some rabbit food and shit like that, like little stuff. But yeah, I'm just expecting to get sick anyway. 10 days was enough for me over in Ireland, to get over the jet lag, and I did get a little sick there too. So I'm expecting it. The jet lag, you're cutting weight, your immune system is down. It's a bitch to deal with, but it's part of the job.
Mm-hmm. We have 3 guests today. Kevin Lee, who's going to be fighting at UFC Fight Night 106 against Francisco Trinaldo, a.k.a. Masandaruba, a nickname I've never figured out what the hell it means. So we have a Phenom against Masandaruba. We also have Beneil Dariush on the show. He'll be fighting Edson Barbosa. Same card, UFC Fight Night 106, headlined by Gastelum and Belfort. And that's March 11th, so not this Saturday, the following Saturday. Lastly, at the end of the show, we'll be joined by combat sports legend Burt Watson, who was the site coordinator for the UFC for many years, and now he's working with organizations like CFFC back east. So we'll talk to 2 of them on the phone. We got Kevin here in studio, and if you want to join in on the party, it's 866-522-2846, 866-522-2846. Yesterday we had a problem with Facebook, so let me say this. If we ever do again, we have the YouTube that's available for the live stream. It's youtube.com/MMAjunkie video. And if you're a YouTube user and that goes down, then now we got Facebook as well. It's facebook.com/official MMA Junkie. All right, so how was your camp, Kevin? We talked to you about a month ago. Did things go pretty good? Did you improve on anything, or was it more just about the weight?
No, I never focus on my weight. I leave, after all these weight cuts, I leave my weight until the very last, which, I guess it is what it is. But I really don't focus on my weight much.
You really are getting better.
Anthony Pettis was actually supposed to help me with my last sparring here, but his flight got rebooked. So right now I'm just gonna spar with the same 3 guys, and it's been smooth. I bring out, I only spar once a week, so I spar really hard for once a week.
How close to 100% do you go on that hard sparring?
About as close as you can with big gloves.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And the
I make sure I don't like the guy, and I make sure he don't like me. Like if it's sparring day, we don't talk. We don't bullshit before. And hang out and okay, you want to get ready to go. Like no, we go in. He has his coaches. I have my coaches, and I talk to my coaches, and then we go in and we go at it.
Is he aware of that as well?
Yeah. We set it forth, and there's been a couple.
That's how they roll over there at King's MMA as well. Fridays their spar day.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna go hard.
Yeah.
It's only one time a week, but they're gonna go hard.
Once a week, you know. You only need it about 4 times during a training camp anyway. You know, you don't need it that much. You don't need to, you know, I got away from doing the 8, 9 sparring sessions of training camp, you know, with a different guy every round. You know, it's too much. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But you know, it's been good, and you know, there's been a couple mishaps here and there with the sparrings, but not on my end. Guys don't have their hands up all the time, so but it's been good.
Fools, huh?
It's been all right.
You know, it's funny because I rewind to when we first started the show. Frank Trigg was our co-host, and he would talk about his preparation, and he would say, "Oh man, I had a Shark Tank," and back then, Extreme Couture had Randy still active, Forrest was still active,
I saw
Vanderlei
one once,
and so he's like, round 1, I had this and that, you know, and it just goes to show you just how 10 years ago. People were still doing things that they aren't doing now. For A, these are bigger guys that you're sparring with. B, the Shark Tank, just you know, there's other ways to keep your body fresh through strength and conditioning. And C, those KOs, you know what I mean? You're swinging against the guy that's literally outweighing you by 20, 30, 40 pounds. That's something that they wouldn't do, but that's something they did back then because everyone was still learning the game.
And not only that, but, you know, half the time that they do that, those guys have fight coming up too. So you got 2 guys with you know, professional fights coming up, sparring each other, and I used to do that too, and it just doesn't make much sense. You know what I mean? That's how you get injuries. That's how you get, you know, if I'll on my off season, I'll go in and I'll help somebody out. You know, if they need my look, if they need like a good, you know, whatever they need, I'll help them out. But it's with the intention of helping him out, knowing that I don't have a fight coming up. So it changes up the intensity and the mentality going into it. You know what I mean? We're not both in there trying to, you know, kill each other.
Yeah.
So
I think I may know who may have been on the wrong end of one of those.
You know, I can't. You know,
yeah,
I
know. You got to keep that behind closed doors. 866-522-2846. We're gonna take a break in about 4 minutes. So I'm gonna get these 2 callers in. 866-522-2846 if you want to join the party, and then we'll be talking to Beneil Dariush. She's on the same fight card as Kevin Lee. They're both hustling down to Brazil. To Fortaleza, right? Is where you guys
yes,
headed?
sir.
Fortaleza.
Yes, sir.
That's in the northern part of Brazil, and it's their it's their summer. So wow, it'll be interesting. We'll look up and see what the weather's going to be like in about 10 days. But I'm telling you, I've been there for Brazilian summers. Our winter, their summers, opposite hemispheres. It can be really nasty and sweaty and humid. So we'll see if that applies. I've only been to Rio and a couple other cities. I've never been up north, but I think the same applies. All right, let's start off with Jersey Mike. What's up, Jersey Mike? How you doing?
I'm good. Kevin Lee, what's going on, man?
What's happening?
Not too much. Man, you keep winning fights. Ariel's have to get you on the show.
I know, right? And then I'm a snub.
He's going to have to talk to you. If you keep winning, he's going to have to talk to you. But, hey, I wanted to ask you guys, and especially Kevin, I'd like your take on this because this guy's in your division. Everybody's talking about Connor, GSP, all these big names. Another guy's out there who hasn't fought in a while, Nate Diaz. Not a lot of fights out there really make sense for him because of what he's looking for, big money-wise. And I just want to know what you guys think is out there for him, and I'll take it off there.
Okay, thank you for the call.
Yeah, he's right. You know, not a lot of fights make sense for Diaz, you know.
Missing, okay, I think he's 30. Can you look it up, guys?
He might be 31.
Okay.
Yeah, something
not
like that.
fighting much during the peak years of your life also may turn out to not make sense. Because fighting Connor makes him money. I get that. That's a rivalry, and it's made money in the past.
But not fighting anybody.
But Nate, he has to prove that him fighting Alvarez or him fighting Nurmagomedov or Ferguson, he has to prove that makes money to demand that kind of money. And if you hold your cards close and they play poker on the other side, I just don't want him to look back and go, wow, those are some peak years that I played hardball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're definitely true because he doesn't make any money not fighting. You know, so it's stupid. You know, if you want to drive up your demand, whatever, but you still got to fight. You know, you still got to make something. You know, I think you're right. Probably Alvarez probably makes the most sense. You know, it's probably the most marketable too.
They offered it to him, he declined it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's holding out for. He's not getting the McGregor rematch. I'll tell you that right now. You know, he's not. I don't think they do that a third time right off the bat. You know, he's got to have something.
I think if you think of McGregor, it looks like the Mayweather fight is in the running.
McGregor's got too much on his plate, you know.
Then there's the GSP fight that's being talked about now, and it's not now like Diaz is becoming the third option.
Well, first, I mean, McGregor's got Nurmagomedov, and
too.
yeah, that's the number one option, I think. You know, he's got to go back and defend those belts. You know, enough of that GSP talk, but he definitely ain't getting Diaz. You know, Diaz not getting a title shot right off the bat. At least I hope not. If he does, I don't know what the fuck I'll do. I don't know, go up to 170 or something.
Really?
Probably, because it's a shit show now. You know, if you give Diaz a title shot with 12 losses, you know, losing his last fight, you know, it's what the fuck are we doing now? You know, so
yeah. All right.
He's 31 years old.
31.
Yeah, see, I was right.
And yeah, he hasn't fought that much last couple years, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, he fought McGregor twice, and then fought Michael Johnson, and before that he lost to Dos Anjos, right?
He looked good against Michael Johnson. He really looked as best as I've ever seen him against Michael Johnson, and then he beat Conor, and he was just this huge star, and then he lost to Conor, and a lot of that went away. He needs to pick it all up.
Fight Alvarez. That'd be a good fight.
Hal from Chicago, what's up, pal?
Hey, can't wait to hear Danny's playlist for Kevin Lee. He's got to bust out his black music, you know.
Right,
I'm thinking Cool in the Gang. He's got Tupac in there. I can't wait to hear
Cool in the Gang.
Top 10 hip hop.
I don't know. Hey, but Kevin, man, I heard you say that they're in your top 5. Damn, they didn't even make your number 2. Let me ask you this, though.
Top 3, I'll say. Top 3, because I don't know who's number 2.
Now, let me ask you this. What podcast gives you the most exposure, airtime, and overall love?
Definitely MMA Yeah, 100%.
All right.
Yeah, 1,000% MMA Junkie. No, you know, MMA I'm just bullshitting. MMA roasted, I just do for fun. You know, I just really like the guys, so I do it for fun.
All right, man. Hey, let me ask you this. You know, people. How much time I got, Gigi?
Do whatever.
Yeah, do your thing.
30 seconds. Okay. All right. You know, in this post-Trump era, we see a lot of the bigotry come out, right? And you know, people being a little more provocative and everything. Are you seeing it in the MMA world? This is always like an argument among some junkies where, you know, that there's still racism, there's still subtle racism, which I'm sure there are. Do you actually personally, what do you see about that? You know, is it things that you just know are there but you don't see, or have you seen things like, man, that fool, I talk way more than him, but he just got this promotional contract and I'm still sitting here with, you know, not as many sponsors as that guy because he's the clean-cut white boy, or, you know, I don't know. What do you see in the industry?
You know, I see it's just like everywhere else in America. You know, people sweep it underneath the rug. You know, everybody pretends like it ain't there, and which is, to me, the biggest problem about it. You know what I mean? You know, people just, they kind of write it off, and if you say anything regarding it, and it's the only place, I think, in like, in our society where if you say anything about it, people like attack you for it. You know what I'm saying? People start saying you're race baiting and stuff. And Tyrone gets a lot of that slack for it, just because I think he's going about it the wrong way, especially. But no, I mean, actually, in the industry, no, the industry is based on, and I understand it. You know what I mean? It's based on markets. So the black market is very hard to capture, and it is very hard to get into, because you don't know if your investment is going to come back. You don't know if you're going to make money. These places that you're trying to market to, they don't have a lot of money. That's just the bottom line, you know. So when they do market someone who's a, you know, suburban white boy or whatever you want to call it, you know, that's just because that's where the money's at.
And final question: do you think that WME is praying for the first time you will have not only a Russian but a Muslim champion?
No,
and those are two groups that are not friendly to the U.S. population these days.
Yeah, but you talking about Russia? You talking about damn near like half the world's population? I mean, how much? Like
180 million, I think.
When you include Russia and all those little Muslim countries,
yeah.
I mean, the Muslims are. I mean, it's
that
billions.
Would be a lot, yeah.
Billions of Muslims. I mean, WME is about the money first and foremost. You know, just like anything else in this world. I think if they had Khabib as champ, I don't think they would be hurting. Khabib's got a massive following too. Khabib's got one of the biggest followings in MMA. Period. I can't think of, only person I can think of that's second is Conor. You know, and Khabib's got he's got multiple countries behind him. So Yeah, I know. I don't think they'd be hurting to have Khabib behind him.
All right, we're going to take a break here. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. When we come back, we'll talk to Beneil Dariush, who's fighting Edson Barbosa at UFC Fight Night 106. Stay close. Kevin Lee in the house.
The time has come to enjoy myself. I've left my problems up on the shelf. The workday's over.
Go ahead.
All right, we're in commercial, so I'm going to get to these Facebook comments. Jason Ford says, that's funny. Eddie Alvarez is a former champion, but a step back for Nate. Did one of us say that?
All right, you guys are clear for
I
2.5.
didn't
I'm
even
going to
comment
try
on it.
Beneil right now.
Okay, well, I would say that if we did, in magnitude of a fight, it is a step back because the Conor fights were as big as it gets. So I believe it would be a step back. But Nate has to realize that he was just the right guy at the right time with these mega fights that involved Conor McGregor. It could have been anyone else, and then that guy possibly could have been big as well if he wins. You got to win the first fight to have the second one. So now Nate is just not really that guy. He has a chance to prove he's a needle mover by taking on another fight booking, but he can't ask for $20 million. Tuakana Tatana says Nate versus Cowboy 2. I'm down with that, and I think now might be the time.
That's a nice one.
Because Cowboy had his welterweight run, and that got shut down the other day by George Masvidal. So now he needs to regroup and either do 55 again, or maybe him and Nate can just say, hey, let's just both agree on 65 and not cut weight.
Might as well
I
do
thought
70,
170
you know?
was
172, yeah.
I thought 170 was going to get shut down when he ran into a guy that was just bigger and outmuscled him, but George didn't really do that. He just kind of outclassed him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to take that as, ooh, I need to go back to 155,
Plus
or if he's just going to say, I'll give it another shot.
Well, plus Jorge was a natural 155er too, you know. Jorge's got a lot. Most of his career fights are at 155 too. It's just, you know, it just was a bad style matchup.
Yeah.
At any weight, it would have been a bad style.
And I'll say this too.
Back in a minute.
I think Nate at 55, when he fought Michael Johnson, he's in shape. That's his best weight. At 70, he got thrown around by Roy McDonald. So he has to be careful, too, how many of these fights he takes at 70, whereas Cowboy's shown that the size hasn't mattered as much. All right, we'll answer as many questions as we can as we're going through the show.
Back in 30, Beneil's there and ready to go, by the way.
Okay. Jason Ford also asked if we can skip you. Guess he's not a fan.
Wow.
He just wants us to get some Beneil, Dariush, and Burt Watson. He's not feeling you.
All right, Ford. Ford, I mean, come on. This,
He
this
goes, "All
supposed
right,
to be
Ford."
Michigan. Listen, this is supposed to be Michigan love. How you going to be named Ford, motherfucker?
All right, guys. Coming up at 10.
All right,
Stand
then,
by.
Ford. All right. Is that the road we're going to go down? Okay.
This speech is my recital. I think it's very vital to rock around. That's right. On time.
Sure. I don't know why you're looking at me. Sure. I don't think you guys have any idea. Zero idea.
Can you please tap that rather large fellow on the shoulder and tell him it's time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes? Thank you.
All right, we're back. We're going to get into it. Looks like we maybe went 1 for 2. You like the song going out, but not the song coming back?
No, neither one. I mean,
Neither one did nothing for you?
no, I mean, they're cool. They're cool.
If you had 10,000 songs in your iPod, could these two make it in, or they wouldn't even crack the top
10,000, it wouldn't make it in?
Nah, bro.
Wow.
Listen. I mean, most of my, I was
is
an
this the Drake
adult
guy?
in like 2010.
Is he the Drake guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I
But you
became
know
an
what?
adult in 2010. So most of my listening is from the past
All right.
7-8 years.
All right. Let's talk to Beneil Dariush. He'll be fighting on the same card as you, Kevin Lee. UFC 106, March 11th, Fortaleza, Brazil, headlined by Vitor Belfort, Kelvin Gastelum at 185 pounds. Beneil Dariush will be taking on Edson Barbosa. What's up, Beneil? How you doing?
Hey, guys. How's everything?
Great, man. Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George and Goes. We also have Kevin Lee, a fellow 55er like yourself, and he's in studio co-hosting with us.
What's going on?
What's up, Kevin? How are you, man?
I'm good. How you doing, Ben?
Doing good. Just, a couple of days left, getting that weight off. Congratulations on your recent success, man. You've been doing awesome.
Oh, thanks to you too, my man. It's been a long time. No see.
You know what? Benny is one of the most motivational guys. If you follow him on Instagram or if you talk to him, he's always in a good mood, man.
Yeah,
Always.
he's a great guy too.
Yeah.
I sit up in my chair when we're interviewing him. I get all into it.
Yeah.
I
Benny
don't
is a
like
class act.
especially a lot of fellow 55ers. I don't like him, but Beneil I actually really like. We met a couple of times. I like him. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Beneil's done. I like that Beneil's beating people at their specialties, and then he's also shown his world-class grappling, which is kind of what I would say was his main strength before he started becoming an all-around mixed martial artist. So it's kind of fun to see where he's going to take it. I wouldn't have the balls to tell him now, hey, do you plan on standing with Edson because he's a world-class striker? Because he's done it before. Mm-hmm. Beneil, Edson Barbosa. The only thing I'll ask you about the leg kicks is, did you have guys imported to just throw kicks at you every day? I would say that's something you have to address because Edson stopped fights with leg kicks.
Honestly, no. I didn't have anybody imported because Kings MMA, we have some of the best kickers in the world. We got a guy named Giga Chikadze who fights in Glory Kickboxing, and he has a ton of wins by kicks. He has stoppages by liver kicks. He's a contender right now. So honestly, I'm not too worried about Edson's kicks. I know he's mentioned leg kicks and things like that, but I'm not really focused on Edson. I'm focused on what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm. Are you gonna leg kick him?
Yes, without a doubt.
There you go. There was a caller named Ahmad from San Diego, and when Chad was going to fight Jose for the second time, he goes, you guys are talking too much about Jose's leg kicks for Chad. Watch out and see. I think Chad could possibly pose danger for Jose. We all laughed our asses off. And I'm telling you, man, leg kickers sometimes have to be aware that others can come at them the same way they come at them.
Yep.
So I wouldn't put it past Benny because Benny's a guy that will go after your strengths as well. Benny, when do you fly up to Brazil?
I think I fly out in like 8 days, 9 days. Next Saturday, I think. I have to check my tickets. They wanted us to go a little bit earlier just because, I don't know, it's supposed to be hot and humid over there, just to get used to that. But I would prefer the heat, so I think it'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard some good news that we're actually going to fight in an air-conditioned arena. I guess they built a new arena in Fortaleza, because last time they were there, the arena had no air and it was open top, and it was like 90% humidity or whatever it was, and guys were like slipping and sliding everywhere. But apparently we get to fight in a new arena with air conditioning, so hopefully that humidity don't kill us too much.
That's legit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I talked to one of the cutmen. He told me about it, and he said last time they were down there, it was a fucking nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was so
Ask
goddamn
John
hot.
Anik and I think Brian Stan were calling the fights. They were drenched.
Yeah. It should help with the weight cut, though. I'm going down there Wednesday, so I'll let you know how my experience is so far, and if you need to bring some more food or not.
You go back to the old gym or the old arena to cut weight?
Yeah, exactly.
Benny, is this what it's all about for you? Traveling to different parts of the world and just doing your thing? Or would you rather be more of a guy that stayed stateside, or do you enjoy the traveling experience, get to see the world on the UFC's dime, and have new fans watch you fight? But knowing that the flip side is, jet lag and weather, climate changes, food, nutrition, that can sometimes also be a burden.
Yeah, those things you mentioned, the week of the fight, super important. So I actually prefer to corner guys out of state. I prefer to fight at home and just be more comfortable. But that's okay. I don't mind. This will be my third trip to Brazil. But it's a lot easier when it's at home, when you know you're going to be able to go to a Whole Foods, or you're going to be able to go to a certain market and get everything you need. Mm-hmm. You speak the language. These things kind of help. It's okay though. I got two of my corners are Brazilian, so that helps me out right there. So yeah, ideally I'd fight at home, but this is good too.
I only have access till the next 10 days, but as of next Thursday, so 2 days before you guys fight, it's scheduled to be about 84 for a high, 75 for a low, so it's constant heat, and humidity's at 69%. And there's rain every day. So I guess it could be worse. I've been in Rio de Janeiro where it's over 100 and still raining and still humid, and that's pretty brutal. But this looks like it may be a little bit tolerable. All right, what do you have for Beneil?
Beneil, kind of like along the same lines of George, what he was talking about with leg kicks. Are you at the point in your career, you've had so many fights where there's certain fighters that we all say, wait until you feel this guy's power, or this guy's leg kicks, or this guy's jiu-jitsu. Are you at the point in your career where you feel like you've just probably come across all of this at some point and nothing really surprises you?
I hope not. I hope that's not the case, because if that's the case, that means the fighting's going to get boring. I hope there's going to be surprises still. I think that's the whole point of doing this. I want to fight people that can, show me things that I haven't seen, push me to places I haven't been. That's pretty much why I fight now, and I enjoy fighting. I don't really think too much ahead of fighting, so I hope there's still more surprises.
Is there anything outside of fighting that has given you the type of rush that you get from fighting?
Same rush? No, you really can't find the same rush like fighting. But as far as, I don't know. I can't think of anything like fighting.
Going forward, in a fight like this, when we have fighters that go to Brazil, the one thing that kind of gets brought up is it's scary to let it go to the judges. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you think about?
Yeah, I went to distance with Carlos Diego Ferreira in Rio de Janeiro. I was able to get the nod, and I got it pretty clearly. But at the same time, you never know, man. Are they bringing judges from America, or is it going to be Brazilian judges?
I would say they are going to bring some from America, but there will be some Brazilians there, so it'll probably be a mixture of 2 names that you're very familiar with, and maybe one Brazilian name. That's what I've seen in the past. Same thing goes for referees. They'll bring some down, but Brazil's also, nurtured a few of their own, so you'll see some there.
Yeah, that does make me nervous, but I guess I'll just have to fight harder and make sure I get that finish. I prefer, I'm not. It's not like the American judges are going to favor me, but at least I know they're not going to favor him either. So that's kind of my mindset, but it's okay.
Beneil Dariush, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio, 14-2 overall, 8-2 in the UFC. Of his 14 wins, 9 have been finishes, 3 by KO, 6 by submission. He will be fighting down at UFC 106 versus Edson Barbosa, the same fight card as Kevin Lee. He takes on Francisco Trinaldo. So, guys, these 4 right here, man, this could determine, like, what's the next wave after Nurmagomedov and Ferguson. You know what I mean? These are some important fights for you two. Those 2 as well, they know it. Barbosa's been chirping for a possible title shot. So, anybody that's all in the lightweight division, pay attention on March 11th.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm in the same boat. I'm gonna go out and I gotta blow this guy out the water for sure. I'm just like you. I'm nervous about those Brazilian judges and the Brazilian crowd too. Because whenever the Brazilian does something, the crowd goes wild. When you do it, they go silent. And that can really affect the judges that people don't understand. But Beneil, how's camp been? Is Rafael Dos Anjos still in and out the room every now and again, or is he doing his own thing off somewhere else?
He doesn't come to Kings anymore. Once in a while, I'll see my jiu-jitsu practice and wrestling practice here and there, but that's about it. He's kind of doing his own thing, but we stay in contact. We train together. I want to say maybe like once a week. But that's pretty much it.
You cornered him in his last fight, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, I was hoping to. I wasn't able to.
But weren't you there?
I was. I fought on the Ferguson card when he fought Ferguson.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I took a lot more damage than I thought. My forearms, just everything was a little bit busted. My shins were busted. I was having a hard time moving, so I stayed back.
Okay. Who will be in your corner next Saturday?
I have Rafael Cordero, Arthur Estrazulas, he's a teammate of mine from Kings, and Marcus Molka, he's my wrestling coach.
All right. I know why you chose Rafael, but tell me about the other 2. I'm trying to get to know more coaches in this game. Why you decided on them 2, and is it a comfort level or does it make more sense? Are they based there?
So I've been working with Marcus Molka for my wrestling for the past 2 years, and honestly, I didn't even realize there was so much technique in wrestling. Before that, I was just basically just wrestling every day and not knowing what I was doing, and I was getting my butt kicked. But just learning the details, and Marcus is a 2-time national champion from Arizona, Division I, and 4-time All-American. I think he was is it Pac-10 or now Pac-12? He was 4-time champion for that. So the guy's wrestling is off the hook. And he's all about details. I think he was a wrestling coach at Harvard, so he's one of those guys that really has to get his point across with words before we can even start wrestling. So that's my wrestling coach. And then Arthur is a training partner of mine. He recently fought on ACB, the Russian show. He got a knockout. He's pretty impressive when it comes to kicks and striking as well. So he's been in my corner before.
Right. And so the UFC pays for you and 1 corner. Are the other 2 coming out of your pocket then?
Yeah, the other 2 are coming out of my pocket, and the room as well.
Wow, that just shows you how much these 2 mean to him, because he's going out there 8 or 9 days. He wants to make sure both of these cats are there. That's one thing I wish the UFC, if you guys ever collectively bargain, whether it's an association or union or just sometime down the road, I think the international travelers – fighters, they take it in the shorts on taxes, and this whole deal with the coaches that go out there and assist on fight night. If the UFC is going to pay for the production team to go down there and put on a good, hey, we got to have our production tip top or whatever. I know they have some people that work on the Brazilian side of things, but a lot of people travel to make sure that there's a good show. Well, why not assist the fighters that are doing this for you and traveling international and give them some sort of a stipend, even $5,000. Even if somebody goes, here you go, Benny. Here's your pay for the night. And here's an additional $5,000 for anything you incurred that night. That $5,000, man, I'm telling you, it's not going to shatter the end result of what that fight could, because they're still going to sell 10,000 tickets. Fox is still going to get their 2 million viewers, or if it's a pay-per-view, they're going to get their hundreds of thousands of views. So the bottom line, I don't think is going to be fractured enough, but I think it would really, really mean a lot to the fighters, personally.
Yeah. I mean, they like to nickel and dime as much as they can, even if you go out there early, they won't have somebody pick you up from the airport and stuff like that. And they just nickel and dime, like little shit like that.
I thought they had white vans that scoop you guys up.
But not if you go out early, They do, early. But if you go out like, a couple weeks early or whatever to get accustomed, they'll tell you. They're like, you have to do your own transfer. It's
and I know
ridiculous.
Connor's on this level. I hear it. But when they're willing to fly him and his whole team on a private jet and set up a private gym so that he can go to a press conference, that fucking costs money. Why not give a little bit of that money to the guys that are that next wave and could be champions pretty soon? Like, invest wisely.
Yeah, you're going to have PR on my ass.
I said it, not you two. I said it, not you two. All right, Benny, thanks for the time, man. Safe travels to Brazil, and we'll talk to you soon, all right, brother?
Sounds good, yeah. Take care.
All right, we'll see you. Man, neither one of these guys co-signed. They just let me hang.
Yeah,
goes, I'm out of here.
You're going to have PR on my ass.
All right, we're going to go to commercial. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93. I don't think I was telling lies. We're out of here.
You take them off. But, it just gives me in that vibe, and I just don't take them off. I don't know.
You know that scene in Star Wars where Darth Vader tells Luke he's his father? What if I walked in right after with my voice and was like, I'm your Uncle Walter. Can I get a lift home? That'd be crazy, right? Anyway, here George and goes.
Star Wars was a movie that came out in the 80s, and so he's referencing that. All right, let's talk to Cody from Idaho. What's up, Cody? How you doing?
Yo, what's up, guys? What's up, Kevin?
What's going on?
Just chilling up here in the great white north. You know, it's still middle of winter up here.
Yeah, I know.
I thought the Great White North was Canada.
Nah, you know, right now it's North Idaho. We're covered we're covered in snow right now. So
okay, so it
I'm
can apply
inside, doing
to
my
the
inside
northern part of the
couple
United
months.
States that's covered in snow.
Well, I guess Canada's not
it's-
gonna like this stuff.
It's all the same land, right?
I think, yeah.
It's all the same shit.
yeah. I guess at one time it probably used to be Canada, but you know, when we rolled in, we probably took that over too.
Yeah, it just depends on where you draw that imaginary border.
Yeah. So I got a few comments. I got a few questions. The first comment is about, you know, y'all were just talking about how the UFC, you know, flying Conor around and all that stuff, his whole team. That's because it's about the money. And I hate it. I'm a hardcore MMA fan. I've been watching MMA since, you know, the mid-'90s. I grew up watching it. You know, watched King of the Cage from the start. You know, watched all the Prides. Watched all the, you know, everything. And it seems nowadays, like y'all hit on it, that Nick Diaz is wasting his prime years waiting for that money fight. It's like it's changed to money. Everything's about the money, man. Like, I don't know about you, Kevin, but I know it used to be people used to fight because they had pride in what they did. Now people are ducking, bobbing and weaving because of the money. And it's changed the whole dynamic of the sport, I think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, the Diaz brothers have really kind of shaped that, huh? Because people see them as real fighters, but really, when you look at, they'll tell you straight up, they do this for the money. They don't do it for the love of the sport. Diaz,
So they don't even like it.
He said he hates it. You know, he said he hates fighting. But for some reason, people still see them as, you know, these guys that just love to fight and are real fighters. You know,
They have paid their dues. They've been in big fights. They have a loyal following. They're loyal to themselves and their team. So there's a lot of things that you can appreciate from a distance. Plus, you know, a lot of times it's like when you give that middle finger, whether it's to the promotion or you know what I mean? I think some people can rally behind that.
Yeah.
I would say this is they can have the money, but they can have the titles too.
Yeah.
You know, so
the thing is, for
I
me,
wish they would go more towards the titles and realize the money will come with it.
Yeah, for me, that you
Yeah,
gotta
guys,
fight
so,
more than
so
anything.
check this. So check this. So like I said, I've been watching MMA for a while, you know, since the mid-'90s. We missed so many huge dream fights because, you know, all those guys from the Pride organization and the UFC, like, the greatest fight ever probably would have been, you know, like Couture in his prime versus Fedor in his prime. You know, stuff like that where it's like dream fight. And I feel like we're missing some of those dream fights because the big money. You know, everyone's waiting for the big money, whatever. Like, I just wish some of these guys would stop ducking and waiting for the big money and just fight.
Yeah.
All right, my
You
man.
know?
Thanks for the call. We got to move on. It's the end of the first hour. We'll do the sports update, come back. Got about 15 more minutes here with Kevin. We can discuss that a little bit further. And if you want to talk about other stuff, it's 866-522-2846. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Kevin Lee in the house.
You'll never be the same again.
What's your foot doctor then?
Dr. I, obviously.
Yeah,
What are you talking
clearly.
about? Clearly. It's very clear. Dr. Cataracts.
Let's see here. No one probably cares, but it's somewhat MMA related. War Machine's trial begins this coming Monday. Did you know that?
Yeah, so I guess they offered him a plea, which was probably still a lot of time behind bars, but he decided to go to trial.
Okay. You know War Machine from your Vegas days?
No. I came way after he left, so.
Okay.
No,
let's see here. Shout out to
Don't care to meet him.
M. Ailes Agundez and Enterprise. You can rent a car under 25, but you pay a fee. So in case you want to rent a car,
Look at that.
You're not cornered.
Yeah, I know. I've had to do it before. They fucking drag you through the ringer too.
Do they?
Oh yeah.
Billy Lowe, look at my dudes showing love to the MMA community. There's room for everyone. I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm showing love to Burt Watson today.
You know what?
Babysitter to the
you
stars.
Always make fun of your memory, but for some reason your memory is spot on when it comes to wearing a shirt that pertains to the day.
Oh, yeah?
You always remember
It's
it.
a pretty nice
Yesterday
shirt,
you had a
too,
Manchester United shirt, right? The other day
They
you
played
had a really
yesterday,
good
and they
one,
won
too.
1-0 against Saint Etienne in France. So they advance in the Europa League. If I had a Motown Phenom shirt, I would have wore it today. But I
You
don't,
got
I don't-
those?
Nah. I did at one point, but then I was just like, nah.
What would it look like?
I'm done. Because it was too much stress for no reason. It had just a picture of me on the back, like a cartoonish, not cartoonish, but I had a graphic designer do it. You know what I mean? But
We're on commercial right now, so I'm just looking at the Facebook comments. If you have one, shoot it over our way. Kevin's leaving in about 15 minutes, but Goes and I will be here still for another hour. I did want to say I guess I'll save it for the show about money.
Yeah.
What he was talking about. But I don't fault the fighters for wanting more money. I just fault them for not
fighting.
For not fighting, but also realizing what their worth is.
Yeah.
20 million's ridiculous. And I know Nate's saying that he'd probably settle for 5, honestly, or 2. Who knows? But you just got to know why this fight meant so much and why this one will or won't. Here's the sad thing of it all. The UFC sold for $4.2 billion, and it's probably worth that. But the problem is, I wish I could say it's the fighters that
did that,
bring that worth up. There's a few of them that definitely help bring the worth of it up, but it really is the power of those 3 letters, the UFC.
They did a great
That's
job
why
with that.
a fighter has to, outside of what the UFC does, they have to on their own become a super popular brand one way or another, and then try and command a little bit more of that money. And you also have to win too. I mean, it definitely helps. There's few of these Diaz cases where you can lose 9-10 fights over your career and still be a needle mover. It ain't gonna happen anymore going forward. So
it can still. It only takes one big fight, Once you get the one big fight out of the way, then all your fights be big, and that's kind of the way it's been explained to me too, and it's a way that makes sense, because you even go with a girl like Jermaine, Jermaine's gonna only be in big fights now, with big money involved. So, and the fight before that, nobody had ever heard of her, Amanda did the same thing,
Y'all gon' make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me go all out. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me act a fool. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me lose my cool. Up in here, up in here. If I got to bring it to you cowards, then it's gonna be quick. All your men that been in jail before, suck my dick. And all the motherfuckers you run with, get done with, dumb quick. You gon' approach the dog with some bump. They go to click, click. Now 1-1. All over some dump. Ain't that something? You remind me of a strip club. 'Cause every time you come around, it's like, I just gotta get my dick sucked. And I don't know who the f you think you talking to, but I'm not him, I Slim. So watch what you do, or you gon' find yourself buried next to someone else. And we all thought you loved yourself, but that couldn't have been the issue. Or maybe they just saying that
like
now 'cause they
the
miss you.
theme song
Maybe
to
they
like
tried
a
to diss you.
cartoon
While you
dog
laying on your
that's
back,
keeping it
looking
real.
at the roof of the church.
He wears glasses?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show.
He's like telling his owner to get off the couch. And the owner's like, okay.
Cody Griffin,
Stays
a
down.
listener on
Fucking balls hanging
Facebook,
out.
must not be around black people a lot because he thinks you all look alike. He wanted me to ask why does the Hulk always wear purple trunks? He confused you with Mike Easton. Remember him back in the day?
Oh yeah. What?
He thinks you're the Hulk,
right?
And he wanted to know why does the Hulk always wear purple trunks?
I got you.
He got corrected by Aaron Menard when he said you're thinking of Mike Easton.
Yeah, I won't.
He politely said, "Oh, thank you," and bowed out.
I won't even answer.
Yeah. Do you have a preference in color of trunks that you wear?
They don't even allow purple trunks
when
anymore.
Reebok sees
Like,
you, they just kind of say, "Here you go," right? Or can you choose black or white? Who gets it?
No, they only give you, so I can either choose white, black, or blue because I'm from United States. Like the last one, I wanted to be red, just because I got a red tattoo on my back and I just like red. And I was fighting the Russian kid, so I guess they didn't allow red because red is Russia or something. But America's supposed to be red, white, and blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Red should be first in that, but. They don't even have purple. They
So
don't
you'll
have
be wearing
purple
blue for
trunks.
this
So
one?
if I was, yeah, I'm wearing blue. But they don't even have purple trunks. Even if I did want to be the Hulk, they don't.
Since you don't
that's not
care
a-
much
a
about your
country.
walkout song, can we choose it for you?
Absolutely not.
No. Okay.
No.
But you're not even gonna hear it. You have headphones on.
No. Yeah, true that. But
You can't understand what the people are saying, so it's not like they could go, "Hey, Kevin, you'll never guess."
that's true also.
These are good
I don't know.
points,
I might choose a song in Portuguese or something. I don't know. I'll probably go something Detroit based.
Detroit?
Show some love back home.
Like what?
Definitely. Like T Grizzly or something. One of the. I usually try and pick a up and coming dude. So either T Grizzly.
I think
or,
you should pick something that
Cash
pops,
Kid.
and if it happens to be from Detroit, great. But I feel like that's
I've
when you
already
connect with fans.
got my the rumor has it. I don't know if I should say this because PR, but the rumor has it that the UFC will come to Detroit this year, and I'm gonna headline that bad boy regardless. So
Yeah.
I've already got my walkout song picked for the headliner there. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be hype. So.
Do you feel like we
legit.
still have
That's
a
great
chance
news.
at picking it, or do you think you just shut it down?
No, it's no chance.
No chance at all?
Zero chance. I've got a better chance of playing Tom Brady in the backup for Tom Brady in the Super
All
Bowl.
those white guys look alike.
Hey, speaking of boxing, Anderson now wants to be fighting Roy Jones on the undercard
I'd rather see that.
of Conor versus Floyd Mayweather. And if they do Conor versus Floyd, sign me up for the other one too.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well. I don't know if it'll be enough money to go around, but shit, might as well. I just don't think it'll be enough money that Anderson and Roy want. That's gonna add to that value. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're gonna actually drive any more buys. But
What do you think both guys
for
would
the
be
type
happy to
of
make?
money.
A couple million each to box?
Hell yeah.
Right? Because Roy's not getting those big paydays. And I don't think Anderson, if he's not a champ, I don't think he commands those pay-per-view draws like he used to.
What do you think Roy's getting? You just fought this last weekend.
2 million.
800,000.
Yeah. I don't think he gets out of bed for at least $1 million.
Really?
Yeah, I think I would say 2, maybe 1.5, maybe. Seems like he needs the money.
Did he
so.
win? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Did?
did. Yeah.
How old is
He fought the bare knuckle boxing dude that was like 72-0 in bare knuckle boxing, which shows
they fought in bare knuckle boxing.
No, they fought boxing, but yeah.
smoked him.
Did he?
But there's nobody in bare. I mean, that's not even like a sport, bare knuckle boxing. So
Yeah.
he was like 72-0, probably against 71 was the same guy that he just kept fighting over and over and over again, keep whooping his ass.
Cody brought up the topic of money. I was telling Kevin during the commercial, I hope they all go and try and make that money when the timing's right. At the same time, win your fights, do your best to stay relevant, but make no mistake, those 3 letters, the UFC is that's what's worth $4.2 million, along with collectively all these fighters. If they stand united, that's what contributes to the $4.2 million. But if they're on their own, each one is expendable. You ever see like if a little ant were on this desk, I could just flick it right there and it would go.
Hey.
No, and I'm saying, so when the fighter stands individually and says, I want more money, the UFC can just go like this. No, we're good. It's either this or we're going to flick.
Not really.
They can. They just did it to Horiguchi. He's a top-ranked flyweight. They just did it to
But he'll be
Serkinov
back.
and Krylov, and they told Bader, go get more money at Bellator. Bader won the fucking Ultimate Fighter. He's done over 20 fights, headline, been a good company guy, and they still said, yeah, Bellator's made more for you.
Yeah, but the thing
and
is,
guess what?
You got to look at it.
209s around the corner is going to sell a lot of pay-per-views. Why? Because more fighters come up through the ranks, and so you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is the fighters that bring value to it collectively.
But you got to
Stand
look
united.
at it from.
But because that's not going to happen anytime soon, it's just going to be up to you all individually to make noise. I think you do a good job of it. You stir the pot. You're respectful. You win fights. You're getting better. I think each person has to look out for themselves, and then when it's time to negotiate, come correct. Try and be realistic, but also just keep winning fights. And I think opportunities will open up for you.
Like I said, I think the UFC knows what they're doing. With like me, I think they they clearly pick and choose who they want to promote, you know, and it doesn't matter. You're not going to have as much promotional power as the UFC. They've done a great job with that, and they do a great job with making sure no one fighter gets bigger than those 3 letters, you know. I think they kind of like backtracking on the Conor thing because they realize now that he's going to, you know, I think that's also why they kept me like kind of like in the dark a little bit more so that I can drive up that bargaining price. But every time this will be my new fight or this will be my first fight on this new contract. And every time I ask for something, they give it to me, you know, as far as money-wise, you know. When we renegotiate, they give it to me right off the bat. They don't give me the best fights that I ask for, but at least the money-wise, they know what they're doing, you know. They're prepping for the future still, and I think they just pick and choose who they give that one. You just need one big fight. That's kind of how the game works, you know. Like I said, like a girl like Jermaine demanded me, you know, like now she will only be in big fights, you know. She had the one big fight.
Yeah, I thought about that. You
now
said it during the commercial. I thought about it, and I went, damn, he's right, because Holly Holm, after she beat Ronda, she's only been in big fights. Yeah. She's lost them, and guess what? I think going forward, she'll still be in big fights. It'll really take a lot. And by the time you reach the point where you're not in big fights, more than likely you might be gone. They'll go, hey, you lost 5 in a row. We're kind of done. So
or
there
even
is
a girl
something
like,
to what you're
or
saying.
even like a girl like Amanda, you know. Amanda and Shevchenko have fought before, and that was on the 196, and nobody even paid attention to that fight, you know. Amanda goes out there, has the big fight versus Misha. Now she's only going to be in huge fights. And Shevchenko the same thing, you know, had the big fight with Holly. She's only going to be in, well, I think the Pena fight too was big for her. But, you know, now she's only going to be in big fights regardless. Win, lose, or draw, she's going to be in big fights. So, you know, even a guy like Nate, before he fought Conor, he just happened to be picked out of the bunch of guys that wanted to fight Conor at the time. So I think that's what the sweepstakes is about, you know.
Hey, Kevin, when you get a matchup, how many times do you feel like there's times where a matchup's announced and you can look at it and see what the UFC's thinking, and you could see, we'll take your matchup, okay?
Yeah, let's talk about this.
With your matchup, do you feel like they're saying Trinaldo would be a good skin on Kevin's wall, or Kevin would be a good skin on Trinaldo's wall?
Personally, I think I'm doing them a favor. You know, the kid's old. You know, he's getting up there. So they're like, hey, this motherfucker keep winning fights. I don't know how. You know, he's on a crazy win streak. He's like on a 7 or 8 win streak, and it's like, damn, he keeps winning fights. We need somebody to go out there and steal this thunder, steal his shine, and take that ranking away from him. Because I don't think they want him in the top 5. You know, it's you know, clearly I'm much more marketable, but I think in order to make the fight happen, they had to make it down in Brazil and not, you know, because he got to give and take some. If he's going to take on a young lion like me, it's at least got to be in his hometown. So,
do you ever look at it that way, though, when you're getting the matchup? What are they thinking?
I do. I thought the same thing with the.
I thought they booked you guys because you guys kind of look similar.
I thought the same thing with the Mustafa fight, you know, because Mustafa only had 2 fights, but really, really talented and clearly could hit, you know, like a motherfucker. So, I don't know. Maybe they were hoping that he put me out, and then they got that trifecta.
I think it's him.
You know, maybe.
Not get rid of him like we don't want him, but just like stop that train because he doesn't have much flavor, man. And so I think the UFC, as much as I don't think they'll always admit it, they want people to fight good, but to have a lot of flavor so that they can market them and get behind them and push them. And when you're out there and you're kind of dry, they're like, "Oh, he won again." Oh,
that's just what logic would tell you.
And you're younger. You see what I'm saying? So he's younger, and he's well, for one, that's big. Is he's younger? He's definitely more marketable. So I would think that if they play that game of hoping one wins over the other, it's him.
I think that's what logic would tell you. You know, that would make sense. But you know, the UFC does do a good job with just they kind of wherever the chips fall, they just kind of roll with it. You know what I mean? And it's been big fights like that in the past where guys don't fight, they pull out or whatever, and they still the show got to keep on rolling. But logic would tell you that they would pay attention to it.
I think that's a tougher question than you guys think. Gastelum's younger. Do they hope Gastelum maybe moves Vitor?
Yeah.
Or is Vitor so big down in Brazil and Gastelum's had his weight issues where they wouldn't mind if
No, this is going to be huge to push Gastelum as the next middleweight.
Mexico and everything.
Yeah. I think since he beat Tim Kennedy,
I heard Vitor's a monster in Brazil. I heard it's Anderson and then Vitor.
Yeah, I hear Vitor pulls
I
crazy numbers too.
Closest one I've ever seen to 50-50 in the last, say, 5 months was Johnny and Hector Lombard. I felt like that one they went in going, all right, whatever happens, but one of them's probably we need him to go, and the other one we'll just.
Woodley and Thompson. Who does the UFC think? Who do you think they?
Thompson.
Thompson.
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know. I think they might be pulling for Woodley too. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I brought the whole question up was when they announced you and Escudero. I looked at it as, okay, they're giving Kevin Escudero. It's a good name, Ultimate Fighter. You can tie that in. It would be a nice little skin on his wall early in his career. And then I started going through other matchups, and I was trying to figure out, okay, what is Kevin thinking, and what is the UFC thinking as it's going on?
Yeah, I'm usually thinking the same thing. Just about the same. That's why, when they approach me with guys like the Russian kid or whatever, and then I have then I just ask. You gotta ask. A closed mouth don't get fed. So, if they do ever match me up like that, then I'm like, okay, what's the deal here? Like, am I not like what more y'all want to see? And they'll tell you straight up.
So when you're like in corporate America and you get fired, and they tell you put your stuff in your box, but some dude walks you out. You're walking people out. Is that you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm the man. I'm the man that comes in like, hey, have a seat. We need to talk. But I think a lot of other fighters think this stuff too. They just don't say anything. They probably just either keep it in the back burner or too afraid to say it or just don't want to. I don't give a fuck. Like I've told it to Dana before, so I don't give a damn.
You have to bounce. It appears. You said 2:15 or 11:15.
Yeah, I got my appointment at 11:45.
Thanks for doing this,
my man.
Good luck with your last couple days of camp.
Yes, sir.
Your travels to Brazil, and fucking do your thing, man.
My man.
Junkie Nation, your second favorite show's got your back.
Best podcast in America, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna take a commercial.
Yeah, let's take a commercial.
All right, we'll take a commercial. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We'll be right back. Dean, Aaron, and Marco will start things off with a slew of calls, and your guys' name is right at the top of the bill. Yeah.
C. Up, up, down, down, left, right, B-A, start. You told me that code would get rid of them. Yeah, well, they're still here. Okay, but now they know I tried to kill them. Hold on, Mom. Here are George and Goes.
I gotta say, that was one of Kevin's best spots. And I thought his last one was good. And I thought Dominique had one of his best was yesterday as well. You know, a lot of times I get stuff from the listeners that say, man, I'm not down with that guy or with her or whatever because of it's either their first impression or they just said something on the show. So here's what I want to know, Junkie Nation. Any of you that disliked Dominique or Kevin or any other guest host the first time we had them on, but then they eventually came around, I'm curious, what was it? Was it just you got to know more about them, or did you just judge them off an early comment or their way of being? I'm curious. And you have many ways to hit me. I mean, if you want to call in and share that'd be great. 866-522-2846. That's the preferred way. We have 40 minutes left in the show. One guest to go. Burt Watson, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, or through Facebook in the chat, or, of course, other means of social media, and maybe I can share their responses tomorrow. Goes?
It frustrates me because there's nothing I can do in the situation, because I absolutely understand. When people don't just do it, I don't like him because he's got a dumb face. Nobody says that. Mm-hmm. They give reasons. And when they give reasons, I can see why they wouldn't like that. However, those two guys in person are very, very cool and very, very down to earth. Like I just mentioned, Kevin Lee could have done this over the phone. He woke his ass up early, came to the studio because he likes it, right? And then you guys couldn't hear, but we had to mute the mics. But what was one of the things he said before he left? He's like, hey, when's that junkie gathering thing again?
Yeah.
I want to make time. I want to hang out with these guys.
Putting it in his calendar.
And so I know he's awesome in person. And I know if they were to meet him and hang out with him, they'd go, wow, this dude's really cool. He's down to earth. He's given us the time. But I get why.
Well, here's one thing that I thought about. What's the one thing I'm usually pushing guests on?
Calling people out?
Calling people out, talking smack. But I could see someone going, I didn't like him the first time. He was cocky. He was calling people out. So it's almost like some of it is from my doing or other people in the media's doing, you know, just, I guess, the direction of the sport. You're asking the fighter to step out of what they normally are. No, some are just trash talkers, but some of them are doing it because they have to, whether it be on social media. And, of course, there's many people that dig it, and then there's many people that just don't. So, yeah, it could be. It could even be that they didn't wake up wanting to be that way that day, but they know they're playing a certain part. 866-522-2846. Kevin Lee, Beneil Dariush. Shout out to Goes for setting up the Dariush interview. Shout out to Lou yesterday for setting up the Derek Lewis interview. And Goes also gets prop on the Kevin Lee interview. He set that one up. Both of them head down to Brazil for UFC Fight Night 106. Respectively, Dariush fights Edson Barbosa, and Lee fights Francisco Trinaldo. And all four of them have a lot of pop in the division, whether it's a win streak or just impressive records altogether. That little foursome's really going to shake up the rankings one way or another.
It will.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to some calls. Got some beasts on the line. We'll start off with Dean from Georgia. What's up, Dean?
Gentlemen, how's it going? To make a couple of quick points. Yeah, Showtime was trying to wish he could find out how cool Kevin Lee was, but I'm just joking.
Yeah, it didn't work out for him that one time.
How much do you think Floyd would like Kevin Lee if he was in Bellator? Imagine that one.
Floyd?
Ford.
Oh, Ford. Oh, yeah.
Ford not being a fan of Kevin Lee. Imagine if Kevin Lee was in Bellator. Holy shit.
Yeah, and wearing a Clinton shirt.
Yeah. Fight. I have a question for girls. I'll take this off the air. But the fight I'm excited about is a guy that just came over, is making his debut at 209. Kind of hometown ties. He's from my general areas. I can't pronounce his last name, but it's Andre Sukhambat. He's the first Laotian fighter from Laos. He's a CES bantamweight champion, and he's actually from my hometown.
Where is he fighting? Excuse me.
I was able to watch.
209.
He's on 209. He's on the other side. He just got pulled up. He's fighting Morales.
Morales.
He's Laos, but he's one hell of a fighter. You know.
Andre Sukhambat. All right. Yeah, he's on the prelims on UFC Fight Pass. Hey, Dean, were you listening yesterday when, I don't know if you train or not, forgive me if you've shared this before with us or not, but Frank Mir is going to be doing a seminar out in Georgia, and he was inviting one of our listeners, was it Jersey Mike or someone from Connecticut?
Yeah, it was quite a drive.
To come on down and participate in the seminar. Yeah, that one didn't seem like it might click. I thought, well, Dean's in Georgia, Fedor Sweater's in Georgia, Marcus from Atlanta's in Georgia. It sounded like a good time, and I bet you guys could call him on what he said. He said seminar, maybe let's grab a lunch afterwards. And if there's fights going on that weekend, hell, he might even be a good hangout buddy. The one thing I'll say about Frank Mir is he can chat about anything, and he's fun to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't make it. My daughter has her campus tour. She's going to University of South Florida in Tampa, so I'm bringing her next weekend to her tour. I'll take this question
was it next weekend for Mir's thing?
I didn't think so.
Yeah,
I thought he said April.
No, I thought he said. Oh, I thought he said next week.
Oh, okay.
So then April, I'll have to look into it. So girls, you said you wanted to give this punishment to in guest studio. I mean, in guest the studio if they're in the studio. Guests if they're in the studio. Who would you feel the worst about giving the punishment, and who would you be like just wait and so excited to give the punishment, either because of fear or because you respect them?
Because they were late?
Yeah, if they were late.
All right, thanks for the call.
Like, who would you either fear or because you respect them, you would hate to give them the punishment, and who you just be like, oh, I hope this guy's late. I can't wait to give him this punishment.
Fear would be
thanks, Dean.
Maybe Hector Lombard,
Mm-hmm.
right? You never know what you're going to get there. And then respect would probably be maybe like a Demetrius Johnson, where he's kind of done a lot for us, and that would sting a little bit to have to do that to him. So he'd probably be going, man, you made me wear a mouse.
Did that go away with after Dominique coming in with coffees? Did you realize, shit happens, I better just drop that? Or are you waiting to slap that to the next person that's late?
I'm waiting to do it. However, because of that, I need about like a 2 or 3 people be late buffer before I could even bring this up again.
It was funny.
Dude, he walked in with
I saw
coffee.
Dominique walking in with coffee, and I go, oh, Go's going to feel like shit right now.
Right after whoever, I think it was Matt or someone said the line was just awful, and I didn't even want to. Oh, Kenny. 'Cause the line was terrible. I didn't even want to wait in that. So he waited in the long-ass line and brought us all coffees.
Aaron in Minnesota, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Voice of Reason calling in today.
Hi.
First thing you had asked about guys that we did not like and then we liked. I think I can speak on Junkie as a whole, going back to when everybody hated Mark Lehman because of his time where he was a coach on The Ultimate Fighter. He came on to MMA Junkie Radio as a co-host for quite a long time when George was in Brazil and whatnot. And now we all love him, but he's kind of disappeared from the face of the earth for a while.
Go's talked to him
he's
recently.
Probably playing video games.
Yeah,
he's doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you guys had talked. Okay, let me back this up. You guys were talking about people complain about when fighters don't get re-signed by the UFC, even if they're a top fighter. Okay, let's take this back a little bit. When Pride was still going and Strikeforce, we all hated it because we wanted. I mean, we liked watching Pride and Strikeforce, but we wanted to see certain guys meet up. I always think of Vanderlei and Liddell when they were at their prime. I know they faced each other, but that was one that we always waited for. So then, the UFC buys them out, and now we're, complaining because the UFC is a monopoly. And I just feel like fans are so fickle, we can never be happy. Look, if someone can sign a top fighter for more money than the UFC, that's a good thing. Like, competition is good. It gives us more options to watch MMA. And it means that the quality of MMA at these other places is better than it would be. Okay, so people need to stop complaining. Another thing, though, Hal had a very good point. Okay, because let me say it like this: Kid Yamamoto was huge in the MMA circles in popularity and in Asia. He was worth way more to organizations in Asia than he ever was in the UFC, regardless of if he won or lost. I think Khabib would be worth way more to some Russian organization, just like Krylov is. So I think the UFC knows what they're doing. They make their money by casual fans in the United States more than any other place. So if they don't sign these guys that don't speak English, aren't very fun to listen in interviews, They may be great fighters, but are they making the UFC money? Probably not, and it's not a pure sport. So when people get, come to the terms with that, they may not be as upset. That's just something to consider. And last thing, if I was a fighter and I wanted to be huge among the fan base, I would be begging to be on a card with some of these guys that sell a lot. Whether it was, McGregor or whoever these top fighters are, put me on that card. That's how you're going to get, seen and known by casual fans. I'll take it off air.
Thanks, Aaron, for the call. Yeah, those are some solid points.
Mhm.
The UFC, when they're negotiating with each guy, I guess it is a one-on-one. This is what we feel you can do. And I'm sure there's some wiggle room there, kind of like me trying to shop for a car. They're not just going to give it to me, but if I push for it, we could possibly meet at a price where both parties are happy. You often hear it's just business. I would say that there are times where the UFC has to give just a little bit, though. And right now I would say that applies at 205 and flyweight. And that's where they recently had some losses. That's why they have to budge a little bit more, because it can't just be Jones, Cormier, and Johnson all fighting each other and then getting that occasional Teixeira, Bader, Davis, or someone else to put them right back in that top three. They have to groom that division. They don't want the division to just fall apart. Cormier's in his high 30s. Jones can't stay out of trouble. And Johnson just said the other day he doesn't want to fight forever. All right, let's get to our next guest. His name's Burt Watson, good friend of the show. And they call him the babysitter to the stars, whether it's in boxing, UFC, or some of the current organizations that he works with, like CFFC, and we've also seen him on Access TV when they did LFC versus RFA. Remember that?
Mhm.
Burt does his thing. He commands a lot of respect in the back. He's a site coordinator, and he always makes the ships run smooth wherever he stay at. He joins us now on MMA Junkie Radio. What's up, Burt?
Man, I'm trying to make it, baby. But you know what? You forgot one very important thing. I'm also an honorary member of Junkie Nation, baby. Can't let that go by the wayside.
Thank you for saying that, sir. I did leave that out. I apologize. But hopefully it'll make up when you go back and look at the video and see that I'm rocking that shirt you sent me, Babysitter to the Stars. I love this thing. I get asked about it a lot.
My man. I just got a wristband that you guys gave me as a member of maybe about 4 years or so ago.
Yeah.
But some of the greatest fans, the greatest audience, and you guys are diehard, they're diehard listeners, and they're committed to you guys. So it's always good to hear and always good to be on your show, baby. Always.
Goes surprised me when he told me that he had booked you. It was a coincidence because I had just heard you talking to Jerry Cooney and Randy Gordon, the commish, on our channel, Sirius XM Rush 93, and it was the At the Fights boxing show. So it was really cool to hear your voice the other day, and it made me think of you, and I was happy as a clam when Goes told me he booked you for today.
Well, yeah, I caught up with him yesterday. I was out doing my real life babysitter job. I got family, man, that I'm taking care of and running back and forth, and kind of, I'm still taking care of my mom, and I got kids and grandkids, and life is good, baby. Life is good.
Yeah. Folks, for those of you that do have Sirius XM Rush 93, go to the on-demand and check out At the Fights. I believe it was a couple days ago, Burt Watson with Jerry Cooney, and it was Monday's show.
Monday.
Yeah, Jerry Cooney and Randy Gordon, and he talked about the chance meeting that he had with a guy named Dana White, who he didn't know at the time. He was at a boxing event, and, of course, that led to him being with the UFC for about 15 years or so. Right, Burt?
14 and a half years. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
and that was quite a chance meeting. That was a chance meeting. But, that chance meeting led me to the UFC and, the world of MMA, and the world that I'm so kind of deeply rooted and involved in right now. And to see that, it's still, and continuing on now being with Alliance MMA and its growth. And, they just had a show this past weekend with one of its regional promotions, CFFC, in Atlantic City, the Brigada, man, and it was absolutely off the hook. Three title shots. Elijah's got a show coming up March 18th. I'll be Combat Sports up in Seattle. We got Eric Del Fury and I'm doing a show March 26th in San Diego. Sat with Carla Davis, who's representing Alliance MMA out in Florida. Got a show coming up in Miami. She works in Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. Got to mess around with my man Scott Shelley. Promotes out of Ohio.
Look at you.
And it's all good, man.
The air miles are going to start to add up again then.
Yeah, they are. Well, the thing is, and we got Danielle Bell and those guys at HFC at Hoosier in Indiana. The only thing, though, when you go from Indiana to Ohio, Philadelphia to Ohio, them damn planes is as big as my car. And I'm afraid of heights. Okay? So those guide miles are not going to add up too much. I'm still not getting on a small plane, baby. That fear of height is still there, and the older I get, the worse it gets. And Burt Watts is only getting older.
I feel like
we got a little more than half a tank of gas, baby. We got a half a tank of gas.
I feel like Burt and Stitch are the only two guys where if they ever took that shuttle to the moon, they would get upgraded because of how many miles.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'd be up there with the astronauts.
So Burt, you talked about a little bit about the chance meeting there with Dana White early on. Not everybody really that came from the boxing world adapted to MMA right away. It took a while for them to like it and enjoy it.
Right.
What were your thoughts early on?
My initial, I really never knew what MMA, about MMA, the world of MMA. I knew about collegiate wrestling and so forth, but never really MMA itself, that it was a viable sport and how, technical skills the guys were. And, coming from the sport of boxing where it was all technical skills, initially it was something competitive coming along that was kind of infringing a little bit on the sport. But back in that time, back in those days, there was still a ton of big names. Tyson was still in the game, and De La Hoya was still in the game. Bernard Hopkins, Royce Jones, and HBO was still at a high level with his promotions and his productions, Showtime and USA Today. So it was, there were a lot of venues and a lot of resources that kept boxing going. And so, they didn't pay attention to what was then not the initial feeder system to boxing, but the feeder system to combat sports, which was up-and-coming MMA. And it just came along and just crept its way through and to where it is today, man. But, no, they weren't too happy to see it happen. In fact, a lot of guys, when I started in MMA, because I was coordinating for just about everybody throughout boxing, and guys were kind of shunning a little bit all. You're gonna give up this real money for that play money. No, I'm gonna give up real money for constant money. Okay? that money was coming in regularly, but it had, they were battling back and forth, and no one took it seriously. And I will honestly say that, took the longevity of it serious.
Yeah. And, MMA's growth pushed boxing, and that's why boxing had a resurgence. And MMA should not take offense at Muay Thai and like Olympic caliber wrestling, like those meets, or even some of these submission grappling tournaments that are happening. Let it push MMA. It's a good thing. That competition is a good thing between all combat sports. But I also believe all combat sports can one way or another benefit from each other and support each other. Not everyone agrees. Some people say, oh my God, it's like black and white, like boxing and MMA. No, it's not. I can get into both of them. And, and I'm pretty rigid when it comes to certain things. I either like them or I don't. But, man, you open yourself up and learn more about each sport, and you can see you can really enjoy both.
Right. Well, the point of competition is having someone or something to compete against. And as long as there is a reason to talk about it, and the concept and the idea of fans going back and forth and and bantering and arguing about which is best. I mean, it's going to keep both of them kind of on a level of point of conversation. And competition is good on any level. And that's the only way you survive is competition. You got competition and a reason to get better and be better. It can only happen that way. Only happen that way.
That's what I tell all my girlfriends. Hey, Burt. yesterday, so we were having a little conversation, and after a while, I told Burt, I go, man, it just seems like a conversation that a lot of people would want to hear about some of the stuff we were talking about. And he agreed, and we said, well, why don't we just do it on the show, And so, Burt, you started to tell me a story yesterday, and we said, let's just save it for the show. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, this past weekend, Alliance MMA had a show in Atlantic City with one of its promoters, CFFC, and at that show, they gave me a call and told me that they were going to have a guest at the show, and the guest was that I think it's the Fox Network that does the show was bringing Dana White to our show for On the Road with Looking for a Fight with Dana White. So the bottom line was Dana White was going to be there in New Jersey at the show this past weekend, and he was there. He and his crew, Matt Serra and Dean Thomas, and that was actually the first time I've seen Dana in 2 years since I left the UFC.
Wow. So what were your initial thoughts when you heard that he would be there?
Well, initially, I thought it was a good thing for the promotion and Alliance MMA and what was going on because it was a connection of what's considered, the premier situation in MMA. But, it was like anything, when you go through a divorce or a breakup, your initial meeting with that ex, kind of scratch your head a little bit, wonder what that's going to be like. But you know what? It has been 2 years, and I've been working, and it was working. And I knew that whatever the situation, I was going to be working, and I had to kind of keep going and stay busy. And so I really didn't have a real thought about it. And we met first time, 2 years, finally got to do it face to face, and it was cordial. Being the guy that he is, how you doing, how you been, things good, you look good, I see you're still rolling, that kind of thing, and that I was.
Did you intentionally meet, or did you just happen to run into each other and then start the convo?
Well, actually, he went over, and my wife was there. And through everything else that was going on and everybody else that was around or whatever, he made his way over to greet and address her and to hug, and to kind of go out at her. And I saw that because I was on the stage. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that and I saw her coming around to the other side, I went around to meet her, and, there was nothing else left for me to do but kind of keep going and say, hey.
Yeah, that was a nice gesture.
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely it was, Then there were, I saw other guys. Kipper Kelp was with him and Elliot. There were other guys that I hadn't seen in a while. And once I started in that direction, those guys were scattered around and they started, giving a shout out and pulling me into them. And, it kind of went on around, but it made its way on around. That was kind of how that happened.
You all exchanged pleasantries, and was that it, or was there ever any talk of maybe you guys could work? And I don't mean that as a disrespect, because I know you have you're with Alliance MMA, but I know fans would want to know that, and I guess what else could you share from that chat?
There was absolutely no discussion whatsoever about anything like that. That was not the place to do that. That was not the time.
Yeah.
To do that, and with that working, when I go, man, I'm perpetual motion.
Right.
And I know I had maybe 20 seconds to do that because I was also in between fights, and a fight was going on, and if another fight had to come, I had to go. So, I kept that kind of mind frame, and it kind of went on to the next level of continuation of the fight. But I didn't expect that to happen. I'm not looking for that to happen, and I'm not pushing for anything to instigate anything, because right now I'm happy where I am. I'm good where I am, and the guys have given me a chance to kind of sit back and do the things that I do. We had a meeting yesterday. We had Alliance MMA had our quarterly meeting yesterday. And at the end of the meeting, I sat with Brian Butler.
Oh, yeah.
I know you guys know Brian Butler from Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
We sat down and came up with the concept and had an idea, that we're going to sit down in the next couple of weeks, baby, and they're going to release something on the Alliance fan page. It's something we're going to do periodically. They're going to let me have some fun. They're going to let me do some fun stuff. They're going to let me tell some stories. They're going to let me tell some tales. Give a few birdisms, and Brian came up with the idea and the concept, and, so we're sitting down and working on it, and I'm going to get a chance to run my mouth and just kind of, share all those things, put those things out there.
Can you update us on, speaking of sharing stories, your book, possible book?
Well, I started working on a book about, I think until about 2 years ago when I left, I had been speaking to a couple of people, Tom Space and a couple of other people earlier, a couple of years back. And, when I left and things kind of died down a little, it died. It kind of settled down a little bit. But, now that things have continued and there's another chapter, no pun intended, but I'm continuing on with another chapter. I'm hoping to revive that and get things, but there's been enough stuff in interviews and written in that direction that I'll possibly be able to pick it up and keep going with it. Not me myself, because I have no idea how to do that, but the package has been started, and now there's a new chapter, and I'm going to continue on. I do hope that, I find a way or a resource to pick it up. And, where I am right now, I think that's going to happen. Because these guys are aggressive, man, and what they do and their thoughts, just like I said, sitting down there yesterday and that concept came up to kind of let me have a little fun with the fans and the history of MMA and what they consider my legend and what I've contributed. With seeing them deciding to or thinking in that level, I think that they'll, somehow along the way, they're going to possibly make that happen or help me make it happen. If not, I'm going to come back to you guys and we're going to find somebody. What's that?
All right. Well, you know what? Brian Butler's a solid guy. I'm sure it'll come to fruition. And when it does, we'd love to have you back and we can talk about the project. But I want to thank you very much for doing a catch-up with us. It's great to hear that you did have that meeting or, that I guess catch-up, that you had with Dana. I'm sure that was good for both of you.
Yeah. It's good. You know what? In this world, in this business, you got to keep rolling or get rolled over, baby. Everybody has to keep busy. And you know it. I see you guys, man, and, progressing, keep progressing and keep progressing and, going to Sirius XM and all that stuff, everybody has a job to do, and you got to get it done. Plain and simple.
That's right, baby. Thanks very much for the time, Burt. As always, I hope you have a nice day, and we'll catch up soon.
Always appreciate it, man, and thanks so much for the support, baby.
All right, take care, Burt. See you.
All right, baby. Peace.
That's Burt Watson, folks. Follow him on Twitter at Burt Watson for real. And we'll be right back to close up the shop here on MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Russian 83.
Come on, pump it up.
taught Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
So I walk in, he walks out. You look at me and start laughing. I mean, what?
When he came in,
am I the clown here or something?
I was talking to Danny,
right?
And he goes, "Oh, can I say hi?" And I go, "Yeah, throw on the headset." And he goes, "Hey man, I just want to say I love your wilderness pictures with you and your dogs and this and that." He thought it was Dan Stubb. I was like, "No, it's Danny."
Oh, I guess they do have a similar look.
What? Dan Stubb and Danny the producer?
No.
What?
I thought Danny the producer was saying to Chase he likes his wilderness pics.
No, Chase was saying that to Danny.
Oh,
thinking
fuck,
that
that's
was
way
Dan
off.
Stubb. Yeah.
Oh, no, but if you think about it, don't Chase and Dan kind of have a similar look? So if Danny were to say that, then, yeah, all right. Where did Chase go?
He went back outside.
Oh, well.
He embarrassed
no
himself
idea
and left.
yeah.
Why is he here?
I'll
He's
have to
co-hosting
tell
a
you
feature show.
after- yeah, after show.
Cool. All right, let's talk to Marco in Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco, que pasa, vatos? And Danny is not a noob anymore. We don't hit the noob minutes, so now you are a casual.
Yeah, I guess that's one way of looking at it.
Hey, I'm not gonna. You guys have a fantastic show today. Not too much I can say. So I'm gonna set this up for probably tomorrow. Bellator have a real bad weekend with this fight falling off, and then this weekend, McGilly loses his fight. They bring this guy Vladimir Filipovic, no relation with Mirko, and then we find out that Chael Sonnen is trying to angle off of a Tito Ortiz rematch because according to Chael, Tito is not really retired since he wanted to fight Fedor. What are we doing, Bellator? What the hell are we doing? We better lead you guys. Can you guys come on?
Okay, we'll see it.
What are we doing?
Well, I mean, it's not Bellator's fault that opponent fell out, right? So I guess the question is, I guess what he wanted to ask was, how can we not feel the drop-off from a fighter falling out? And that would be to get
cards. Deeper roster.
Deeper roster, or to throw less fight cards. And I believe that might be the better thing right now is...
I'm okay with their tempo.
Really? I don't get excited for every card. Like, their tent poles are special, which is probably the equivalent of a UFC maybe pay-per-view. I'm not trying to say they're even. I'm just saying my feeling towards those events standing out from other events. So I would say, don't expand too soon because that can happen. Your roster probably isn't deep enough. That's all I can say. I think that's just what I would do is maybe a few less shows. Don't try and conquer the world too quick. It's tough, man. Scott Coker made Strikeforce an interesting brand, so he knows what he's doing. Those are TV people that he's working close with that are giving him the budget. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. I think that's the better idea. So thanks to Beneil Dariush, Kevin Lee, and Burt Watson. Tomorrow's show we will have Stitch Duran co-hosting in studio. Boxing and MMA legendary cutman. We'll also be joined by Chael Sonnen. So we will look forward to talking to you again at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Until then, be champions.
I'm gonna keep on the run. I'm gonna have me some fun.